CARICOM leaders meet for critical CSME talks. The disabled ask for a greater stake in the society. And in sports, Empire's perfect run in the BFA Premiership is at an end.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
A very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Lord with the Monday, December 3rd edition of the CBC Evening News. And in our top story, devising ways to create a more meaningful CARICOM single market and economy is the goal of Caribbean leaders currently meeting in Trinidad and Tobago. Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley, who led a Barbados team to the talks, has been explaining why this meeting and its agenda are critical. Kent Jerson has the details.
Speaking on the sidelines of the meeting at the Hilton Hotel in Port of Spain, Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley says the leaders are taking stock of the CARICOM single market and economy to determine how to move it forward.
So we're meeting here in Port of Spain to be able to see what are the areas that we can bring definitive progress in on behalf of Caribbean people. Can we allow people to travel easier and at a more affordable cost? Can we allow those people who have to do business across multiple territories to be able to file registration documents in one country and have it mutually recognized elsewhere in the region? Can we begin to think about how we're going to work together to reduce our food import bill? Can we see how we can create opportunities for Caribbean people to be able to invest in renewable energy companies, whether through debt instruments or through participation in shareholding, largely because their savings are only getting them 0.1% or 0.5% in a savings account.
The Prime Minister adds that there is over $47 billion in savings by Caribbean people in CARICOM, which could be put to better use.
And we need to find financial instruments that make it more attractive for people to be able to invest in, giving them a better rate of return than the savings rate, but making access to money cheaper for those businesses or those governments that need to be able to borrow large and lumpy sums. So these are some of the things. It's not exhaustive by any means. But the other major part is that we need to reset how we do business. And we need to bring the private sector and labor to the table, because it's not governments that grow. It's the businesses and the households that grow. It's the labor that works in the businesses or works for themselves that make a difference to productivity, that makes us competitive. Governments facilitate growth. Governments facilitate the environment for competitiveness. So having them at the table as key partners in the building out of the single market and the single economy is the next critical step that this meeting must make if we're to see progress.
Prime Minister Motley is the lead head of government for the CSME in the CARICOM quasi-cabinet. Kent Jerson, CBC News.
Well, the Barbados Workers Union says that former workers of the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation who were recently retrenched will be getting all that is due to them. And this is according to General Secretary Senator Tony Moore. She says recent comments by opposition Senator and General Secretary of the United Workers Union, Senator Caswell Franklin, that the severance would be paid by bonds is not true.
Workers will be paid their severance by the severance fund of the National Insurance Scheme. The scheme is currently working on this arrangement, and the expectation is that severance payments would be made during the month of December, this month. In any event, it was clearly understood that time limits are set by the Severance Payment Act, and so severance should be paid within the 2 months of separation of severed workers.
Well, Senator Moore says that the back pay related to the 5% and performance increments will be paid in installments over several months.
The bonds arrangement agreed to cover the retroactivity associated with these payments will see the workers getting their monies in cash installments and not in paper, as the Unity General Secretary would wish to have us believe. No union in Barbados can accurately claim that it has a greater commitment to or a greater history of its commitment to defending its members and generally to giving succor, strength, support, and hope to the working class and the public at large in Barbados.
Well, local engineers are being encouraged to play their part in protecting Barbados from the effects of climate change. This plea from Minister of Transport, Works and Maintenance, Dr. William Duguid, and he was speaking at the Barbados Association of Professional Engineers, or BAPE, Dinner and Awards Gala for 2018. Dr. Duguid says that engineers have a very important role in the sustainable development of the country.
For Barbados to develop solutions to mitigate climate change, engineers must play an active role. This could be in developing new technologies that reduce our environmental footprint, such as solar panels, hydrogen fuel cells that are involved in the manufacturing of these technologies. In addition, engineers could use their skills to assist the public in understanding environmental impacts and influence the behavioral change necessary to minimize the impact of climate change.
Meantime, BAPE President Lieutenant Colonel Trevor Brown gave an update on the areas that organization will be focusing on in the future.
Improving the professionalism and the image of engineers and engineering in Barbados. Secondly, we will focus on educating the public on the role, the training, and the importance of engineers to the success to critical national projects in this advanced era of knowledge and high technology. 3, on supporting the minister and the ministry in upgrading our legislation, and we speak specifically of the Engineers Registration Act, but also of the Building Authority Act, and even the Town and Country Planning legislation that's being worked on.
Members of the disabled community want to feel more included in the Barbadian society. President of the Barbados Council for the Disabled, Maria Holder Small, has made the plea as the island recognizes International Day for People Living with Disabilities. And she was speaking at the 3rd annual Dorian Pyle National Literary Prize giving ceremony.
The disabled community has long complained about being omitted from mainstream society. President of the Barbados Council for the Disabled, Maria Holder Small, says this situation must change.
We seek change. We seek inclusion. We seek to be empowered, to be able to fulfill our individual goals. In seeking to be empowered, we must also be more assertive in claiming our rightful place in every aspect of society, be it economic, political, or social. In our quest for empowerment, we are not asking for favors. We are asking for the playing field to be leveled and the man-made barriers dismantled. We are asking for policies to be established, which are guided by the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities to be put in place.
However, with that goal unachieved, many young people continue to be ashamed of their disabilities.
I'm encountering far too many students with disabilities who have very little knowledge about themselves, who don't even want to accept that there's a disability, and in many cases are ashamed and embarrassed, okay? And this is especially true with students with learning disabilities who can hide the fact that they have it. But we've had students with hearing impairments who've almost gone through the entire system without us knowing. And only when something occurred did they come towards me and say, oh, you know, I have a hearing issue. You know, so many times it's to do with stigma and et cetera. And what I say to them each and every time is, acknowledging that you have a disability is not the same as someone who says you can't because you have a disability.
10 finalists from the junior and senior levels were rewarded for their efforts in this year's essay competition. Rianne Phillips, CBC News.
Meanwhile, members of the disabled community continue to make significant contributions to the island's development. Among them, former President of the Senate, Carrie-Ann Eiffel, who is one of 4 recipients of this year's Silver Crown of Merit. She says she's humbled by the award, which recognizes her advocacy for the rights of persons with disabilities and contribution to civil society.
I am deeply honored to have been recognized in this way. But as I've told everyone this weekend who have congratulated me, this is not an award for me. This is an award for persons with disabilities in our society to be recognized, included, accepted, and embraced at all levels. And so I accept the award on behalf of persons with disabilities, their families, and all of our well-wishers, because it is another signal honor.
Well, the decision by government to remove that controversial tipping fee has been welcomed by the Waste Haulers Association of Barbados. The fee, which was introduced in May 2015, saw Barbadians paying $25 per ton to dispose of waste at the Sustainable Barbados Recycling Centre. Now, Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley, on assuming office, announced plans in the mini-budget to scrap the fee. The Sanitation Service Authority now says that the tipping fee will be no more as of today. While supporting the decision, President and Chairman of the association, Anderson Cherry, wants the government to consider introducing a recycling program to divert waste from the landfill.
Let us look at the coconuts. Let us look at green waste. Let us look at diverting construction waste and inert material that normally goes into the landfill that can easily be going into quarries if properly managed. And let us look at waste diversion in a big way. And I think it will save government millions of dollars overall.